Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Estamos aquí con Jenny. Perdón. Um, he's going to throw his Spanish out here. How are you today this morning, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Well, I'm great to have you here this morning.
Good. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate you having me out.
Yeah. We've been talking a little bit about, what we've done now this year that we've been away from the company we were in. I don't even know if we can mention it. Copyright and all of that.
We met through a financial services company.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long you been here in Oklahoma, Jen? I'm sorry, my Spanish English is kicking in.
Yeah.
But you guys have to be understanding that my brain is trying to think in Spanish, and we'll get there.
Right.
So
Born and raised in Oklahoma. Born in Elk City, grew up in Watauga, Oklahoma, and then now live in Piedmont, and also that's where my business is located, in Piedmont. So.
Oh, cool.
Oklahoma, born and raised.
Wow, yeah, a great city, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how is Piedmont? I heard there's a lot of business people out there. I think I'm gonna go out there and live over there.
Piedmont's really nice. We were living in Oklahoma City, and we wanted to get outside of the city limits and have a little space land-wise. And so, it's a quiet place, pretty slow, but, we're only 15, 20 minutes from, Oklahoma City as well. So it's great. We love it out there. Great place to raise kids.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess that was your main goal, your children, which you only have two. That's kind of like cheating right there. Because we Mexicans have like a lot. I don't know how that happens.
Two is plenty for me, but now I have two sweet baby girls. I have a 12-year-old. Her name is Justin. And then I have a 3-year-old. Her name is Jason. So
awesome.
We have quite a big gap between the two, but it's pretty cool to have them at different stages.
Oh yeah, I bet you're enjoying that. They watch different TV shows, I bet.
Absolutely. Totally different interests, but we love it.
Okay, cool. And how do you manage business and the children and family and stuff like that?
Well, so the number one reason why I wanted to go into business for myself is just have the freedom and flexibility of my schedule and time. And so, I work my business around their schedules. So I take my daughter to school. I pick her up most days.
Cool.
I never miss practices if I don't want to, or games. I'm always available to go to those things. And then I work my business around that.
Yeah.
But, it can be challenging at times. Client demands.
Yeah.
Getting tons of referrals, and you want to get business turned around in a, adequate amount of time. And so, sometimes it can be early mornings, late nights, working while they're at home. And so, it can be a challenge not to bring work home all the time. But
Right. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think the era is changing from, being in a different culture. I do know a lot of times Americans can, work from home and also, take the kids to school, which is the guys, because females in the Hispanic community, most of the females do that instead of the guy, because, the guys, they have to go to work, you know. And I think growing more people or educating more people, that you can do your own business and work from home, I think it's very important.
Right.
It's just, it takes technology.
Yeah. In my business, I'm what we call location independent. So I can be anywhere in the U.S. as long as I have, a phone and internet and able to hook up my computer. I can work with people anywhere. So I don't have to be at an office, but I do have a physical office, and then also have my home office as well. But I can work in coffee shops. I mean, I can be remote and be just as productive. So
cool. Kind of like a mobile.
Yep.
I've started my business as a mobile notary.
Okay.
And it became to this craziness that you're here now. And it's awesome because, being able to connect with people that are entrepreneurs and that are, family people.
Right.
I guess something that I've been for so long and kind of trying to run away from it, but, I can't.
It's who we are. Yeah, with technology, Zoom, I can see people on video, telephone, email. I mean, you don't have to be in person these days in business. So Zoom calls and all of that made it, like the pandemic, I think that was a big idea to become more technology wise, when it comes to working from, like you said, from the mountain, and just as long as you can get signal. Right. My clientele, they're typically, 65 plus years of age. And so I'm working with a more senior clientele, and sometimes they are resistant to technology. But I think one of the great things with COVID is it made everyone start using technology, because if they wanted to see their grandkids or their kids, they had to get on the Zoom calls. And so it's made business easier for us, because now they're more willing to get on a Zoom call versus having to meet face to face. So, which allows us to be a lot more productive.
Yeah, and a little bit about what you do. I'm definitely interested, because we don't have anybody that does what you do in our business. So definitely referring people to you, and I could be a translator, of course,
right?
Because it will be the Hispanic community. So what is it that you do, and how do you think it's important for people?
Okay, so I am in the health insurance space. My main focus is the Medicare market, and so typically someone qualifies for Medicare if they have worked 10 years, and then also they qualify for Medicare at the age of 65. Okay. And so when someone turns 65, they are able to go on to Medicare, which is their primary insurance. And so, there's a lot of confusion about how Medicare works, and, what are their different options as far as supplemental insurance, prescription drug coverage, all those different things. And so my job is to take them by the hand and walk them through the different options that are available to them. Because with all the different commercials that you see on TV, all the phone calls that they get from all these call centers, all the literature that they're getting into the mailbox, it's really confusing. Right. They have a lot of anxiety. And it is, they make it pretty difficult to understand how Medicare works. And so I love educating people on Medicare and how it works, and, seeing that light bulb when it finally clicks for them, and, when they understand how Medicare works, and have a peace of mind. So.
Right. Cool. And how did you started this business? How did it just ding dong on you, and you were like, oh, I woke up and I'm just going to build this business?
Yeah, so, I worked as a financial advisor right before becoming a Medicare insurance agent. I was working with the Dave Ramsey organization as an endorsed local provider, which is an ELP. And I had a territory in North Dallas, so I was working Plano, Frisco, McKinney, Allen territory, and I was having to drive to Dallas every week. Did that for 7 years. Wow. Or 6 years, and just got tired of the drive. Also was just looking away to get back to Oklahoma. Right. And so I started looking at the Medicare market, and I started having clients that were turning 65, started asking me questions about Medicare, and I didn't really know anything about it. So I started researching Medicare and saw that it was a vastly underserved market. So I started learning about Medicare, and I was working as a financial advisor, and, started learning about Medicare. Did that for like 2 years before I finally made the switch to concentrate on Medicare. And so now I help financial advisors with their clients. So, they handle the investment piece, but when their clients turn 65, they need someone to help them with Medicare. And so I work with a lot of, probably 60 or so different financial advisors to help their clients, with their Medicare needs. So it's been a great business. Cool. It's been a great fit for me.
Well, that's great. It is important for people that turn the age and the correct company, definitely. So how did you, when you started registering your company and everything, what was the most challenging? Did you have to hire somebody to help you, or did you basically knew how to do it all?
Yeah, basically I went to my CPA and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Help me out, because I had no idea what to do or how to do it. But, again, he took me by the hand and said, hey, you need to file this with the state. You need to do this, and this. And so I don't even remember all those steps that I took to do that. But, I think it's always good to, go to an expert, go to someone that knows what they're doing. And, he was a friend of mine. I trusted him, and, he hadn't led me wrong yet. So.
Yeah, a lot of things we see on the Hispanic community and the minorities is that a lot of times people they don't know how to ask questions, and I think that's a lot of the issues why they don't go and do their paperwork to their own business. Right. And I think by us being able to help the individuals, fill out the right paperwork, so they don't. Sometimes, like I've heard it before, like you get business cards made, and to them it's a big challenge to even make business cards.
Right.
And that's only the tip of the beginning.
Yeah.
You got to get your name out there and all of that. I mean, what suggestions would you say are important?
So I'll come from that from two angles. From the client aspect, the Hispanic market is vastly underserved when it comes to Medicare. And so, with the language barrier sometimes, because I host seminars every month for Medicare, and I have Hispanic, and sometimes just the language barrier.
Yeah.
I might talk a little fast, and so they're not comprehending everything, but it would be a great market for like a bilingual rep.
Yeah, you're going to have to hire me.
Help. Yeah, because the Hispanic market is vastly underserved when it comes to Medicare.
Yeah.
However, they need help just as much as anyone else does because it is confusing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different things that they just don't understand because of the language barrier. So there's a vast need for bilingual health insurance agents to help the Hispanic market with Medicare. From the business, I mean, it's, again, I'm not aware of all the challenges that someone in the Hispanic market could face, when it comes to business. But I just think being willing and open and asking questions. Right. What do I need to do? How do I need to do that? How do I go about doing it? Again, I know there's some additional challenges with the language barrier, but I mean, obviously, a good place to start would be with you and, what all your company provides and how you help them. And you might not know how to do that, but you have a lot of resources that you could point people in the right direction. So
right, yeah, definitely. I think if you ever have like a little seminar for Hispanic, and you can post it out there for Spanish, and I don't mind, going volunteer, helping you out.
Yeah.
Just because you're here today, and I know it helps both of us, but at the same time, we see the need for the Hispanic community because, like I said, it's not something that I would want to learn how to do because I can just translate, you know what I mean? Because the translation, it's the key.
Sure.
Definitely. We'll work something out, when it comes to the clients and having, their needs met.
Yeah. I've tried to hire bilingual just because I see the need for it. Again, like I say, when I'm in my seminars and I typically do 2 seminars a month and we'll have about 30 people in there. And of those 30, there's typically 4 to 6, Hispanics in there. And I talk a little fast. And so sometimes they might not, again, just comprehend it. Yeah. And, that can be a little confusing. And I know there's challenges there. So there's a huge need for that.
Yeah. And I think if you're able to whenever you do your seminars, I don't know if you guys record it or what, but it would be nice to put it out there more, as a kind of like the recording of your, information. And then we can also do the translation on the words.
And that would be a great idea where I can record my basic Medicare presentation and then you transcribe it. And then we can send that out to people and they're getting the basic information that they need, the foundation that they need to be able to make a good, smart decision about their Medicare insurance. So,
yeah, definitely. I bet some of the Hispanic community are listening to the podcast because they're probably going to wait for some Spanish to come out. But I think
Uno, dos, tres, Blanco.
Anyways, we can just keep you on the same market and then the Spanish can just wait.
There you go.
Pero si necesitan ayuda en el área médico, si son mayores de 65 años, so they got to be older than 65 and be citizens, right?
Yes.
Of the United States. Yep. Ser ciudadanos de Estados Unidos, arriba de 65 años califican para lo que es el Medicare y él les provee una aseguranza que les ayuda a tener sus beneficios. ¿Cuál vamos a estar hablando de eso más adelante en su idioma para que puedan entender? So, did you get any of that?
I didn't, but I want you to also add there are programs and financial benefits that they could get that they just don't know about to help pay for Medicare and the supplements and prescription drug plans. So,
okay, yeah. Algo así dijo como si necesitan alguna ayuda en su área médica, hay muchas ayudas financieras que pueden calificar para de esa manera si necesitan reducción de medicinas, o algo así, pero pues ya saben, nos lo estamos aventando en inglés y pues vamos a seguirle en inglés. So ahí después les explicamos más en español. So yeah, I kind of told them what you told me.
Perfect. I understood that.
Yeah, so I think we're going to send you to Mexico for a few years so you can come back bilingual and you don't have to struggle.
That would, that would be very beneficial. I should do that.
Yeah. No more el baño or cerveza. Because I know in a financial company we were in, that's what they would talk about, cerveza.
Yes.
And baño.
Yeah.
I think one of the girls, she said, I told her she used to sell gum on the street, and her name is Nicole. She said she's chicles. It was really funny. I'm sorry, guys. Let's get back on
Our
top.
friend used to call me pequeño.
Oh yeah, I remember that. She called everybody pequeño. Everybody knew what that nickname was. So yeah. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. Erica, saludos. Yeah. So anyways, so how would you encourage the youth on learning and taking advantage of the technology and the businesses that can be brought out there with the technology and the English-Spanish communication?
I'm big on encouraging anybody really, but young people to learn all they can about technology, learn the ins and outs of it, because that's where the world is going. Is everything is pretty much automated. You have an app for this, you have an app for that. Not knowing how to use technology, is going to put you behind the 8 ball. And so, staying up on that can really give you a leg forward in life. And then, just encouraging people to do the work, not make excuses. I mean, you got to work hard no matter what it is. Things aren't going to be given to you.
Right.
I know with the social media that we live in, you have all these influencers on social media acting like, things just happen just like that. And that's just not the case. That's a false narrative. And, just with the businesses that we're in, it takes a lot of hard work. Like we were talking before, you work a lot of hours to have the success that you have in your business. And, there's challenges with that. Mm-hmm. And, it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of dedication. No excuses. No one cares about your excuses. You got to be accountable, and it'll work out in the end. But it does take work. It does take time, patience.
Yeah.
To get where you want to go. So.
Yeah, I think so. And I heard that success, it's a work that you don't just get. You work for it, just like you're mentioning. Right. And I heard an audio this morning. I was like, oh, really? So you have to work for it. That's why I've been working so much, and that's where we're getting, where we're at. Right. Basically.
I mean, people that don't work want what you have, but they're not willing to go through what you went through to get it. So, of course, they're not going to have the same results, but, it's no different than me working with my 12-year-old daughter with sports. I mean, she just wants to show up and thinks she's going to be good on basketball or softball, but it takes work. I mean, she's got to practice. She really enjoy repetitions that. And later on in life she'll see that it translates to every part of her life. So
exactly. Yeah. I mean, our kids better take advantage of the ones that are under 18, because then they'll get to pay bills.
Yep.
That's when they get to buy the toothpaste, and they have to learn that it costs $3, $4 instead of just buying the used to $1 one. Now nothing is $1 anymore.
Right.
It's like when my son graduated high school and he moved out, he was like, Mom, I can't buy that toothpaste you used to buy me. And, he used it like nothing, but until he had to buy it, Yep. But yeah, definitely. I think, our kids, they're very blessed to have us, because, we've seen it out there, foster kids and kids that don't have the love and the support of, the parents. And I know as much as we try to be the best as parents, it's always something, but I think being blessed to have children is one of the biggest, challenges that we've come across. We're not trained to be parents.
Right. I think one of my favorite quotes is the greatest leadership example is parenting, because we're not really taught it. We just kind of learn it as we go, and we're doing the best we can, and sometimes we might do it right, sometimes we might screw up, but hopefully we produce productive, citizens one day, and that are able to
they better
live on their own and be self-sufficient, and not rely on, I guess, the government per se. But so yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, there's always different things, variables that you have to overcome, and one of the biggest things that I'm working with right now is my daughter, and her belief and believing in her abilities, athletically, believing in her ability in the classroom, and if she believed in her abilities like I do, she would be amazing. So it's just building up that belief system in herself.
Yeah, maybe if you try it a different way, maybe if you could try it like, I mean, I don't know. I could give you some tips once we're done with this, because I don't want to say the wrong thing here in front of people. But I tried different ways. Like sometimes with my kid, I can be like, oh, you can act dumb or something. And then they're like, no, I'm not dumb. Okay. I just testing you and see what your answer is,
Yeah.
But sometimes, a lot of parents, they don't want to be mean to their kids, or they don't want to sound cruel, because if they're already facing a challenge, then if you make it more challenging, they're gonna want to go the opposite way.
Right.
you know. But so how has it been for you, being a minority? Do you get used to, like, I don't know, it happens to me, like when I go to a restaurant, and we're kind of switching topics here, but like going to a restaurant, people turn around and look at you like, what are you doing in this place? You know what I mean? Like, do you feel that, or how do you go about that? Like, how do you feel proud of who you've become? Because we'll talk about it in a little bit of you growing, but how do you feel that, us being minority and being exposed to like an American place? You know what I'm talking about.
Right. So, I have over 1,000 clients. 99% of my clients are white. So, of course, there are challenges. But in spite of those challenges, I've been able to be successful. And so, like in these classes that I teach, people are, there's 30 people in a class, and then when I walk in, it's like this black guy, and you kind of see some of the reactions to it. And so my reaction is, they're going to be blown away after I get done with this presentation. Like, I know my stuff so well, I'm not afraid of any question that they ask, because I know my stuff. And so even in spite of that, I mean, you've got to prepare, you got to be ready to answer, any questions. And then once they know that, you're educated, what you're talking about, and all that stuff goes away. They just want help at the end of the day. So
have you ever done like a joke to them, like, what's up?
Of course I do. I mean, I still have to be me, right? I'm not never going to be one that's going to act different.
Right.
So yeah, I act how I act, but you learn how to communicate, and you see the different reactions. But it's one of those things where I've seen it so much in my life that it just it doesn't faze me anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy, because like yesterday I went to a restaurant. There was a lot of American people there. Well, I would say American. I know I shouldn't use that word, but I'm not as brave as you'd say white. Okay, there was a lot of white people there.
It is what I mean. It's not. I'm not being disrespectful. It's just it's what it is.
Right. Okay. Okay. But anyway, so is this place in Edmond? Okay. It's a Hispanic restaurant, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm Hispanic. So I feel like they look at me like, what are you doing here? You should be cooking this. But, like you say, it is what it is. You just go and do your thing, and, you just hi to people, and stuff like that. But if I go to a Mexican place, they also look at me, because they're like, what is this girl doing here? So I'm just like out of place,
I mean, like I said,
it's a stereotyping.
I've dealt with all of that stuff. People will say stuff, and sometimes I don't think they know what they're saying, or they might not mean it that way, but it comes across that way. And it's I mean, I've gotten all kind of stuff said to me, and I just brush it off, and oh, you're not really black. Why? Well, I mean, you're educated, so it's those
educated
stereotypes. Yeah, you don't talk black. Well, how does a black, so
how do I supposed to talk?
Yeah. So you deal with all that stuff.
Teach me some manners,
right? So we don't all talk ghetto slang. I mean, we're educated.
Right. Oh my God. I knew this was going to go this way. That's crazy.
But I mean,
it is what it
you
is.
deal with that stuff, and but you got to be tough. You got to be mentally tough enough to not let it bother you. Because again, sometimes they just are ignorant to where they don't really mean it that way. But that's just
how they're saying it.
That's just how they're saying it. So
yeah,
because again, I have a ton of those people that are my clients.
Right.
So
be like, you're my client. I'll push that button and get you off my list.
Right.
No. But yeah, I think, like you mentioned it, you have to be mentally strong. You have to define that, please, because, I mean, it's easy to say it, but how do you become mentally strong?
Well, it doesn't just happen, it's just like anything else, repetition. Like you start working out, running or lifting weights, you get better the more you do it. And so, the more you're in those type of situations where you're putting yourself in front of people and you get those reactions, it finally, you get numb to it. And so you have to act and you just have to do it. I used to be super, super shy, and I hated speaking in front of people. I hated public speaking. But in order for me to get over that, I just had to do it. Right. Do it. I sucked at first, and now I've gotten really good at it.
Yeah.
But you just have to go through the process. There's no way to shortcut that.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry. And also what I've seen, like whenever you say become mentally strong and listening to audios, reading books. I mean, I hate reading. And I know that's something that, in the financial services, they always told us, you have to read a book. And I think I've gone A.R. Williams. I think I won that book and I never read it. I think I just read like 1 or 2 pages.
Yeah.
Sorry, A.R. Williams. Still an admirer of yours.
Yeah. Well, now you don't have to read. You can listen. You got podcasts like what we're recording here. You have audio or books on tape. So there's a lot of different ways to get that information without having to, because I don't read a ton right now anyway, because I'm busy with work. I got a 3-year-old at home.
Yeah.
Now I'm making excuses as well, but
you're listening to audios.
But I'm listening to audio. I'm on the treadmill every day. When I'm driving, I'm listening to audio. So I'm still getting that information. It's just in a different format.
Yeah. So if you guys don't like to read, you guys already know there's no excuses. You can listen to audios and things that are positive, because that's the only way to feed your mind. I remember Nicole used to say, educate your mind, train your mind, listen to audios, listen to reading books and stuff like that. And I think all of that has been a training of timing, and all of a sudden, coming out here to the people, to the public, and speaking in front of so many people. And, the lives you can change by just speaking out here. And I think if our goal is to keep growing as a public speaking person, then you got to put it to practice like we were talking about.
Right. I love helping people, but in order for my business to get huge, to grow, in order for me to accomplish a lot of the goals and dreams that I have for me and my family and provide for my family the way I want to, I knew I had to get good at public speaking, because now it's me to many versus one-on-one. So from a time perspective, I can generate so much more business by getting good at speaking in public, speaking to 30 people at one time versus, one-on-one. So
right.
It was uncomfortable. There's times where I'd get up and forget what I was supposed to say.
Right.
Armpits sweating, hands, just all those different things. But you just got to go through that to get to the other side of that. And there's no way of shortcutting that other than just to do it.
Yeah. So it's okay to feel nervous, and it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to get out of your comfort zone.
Right. Because
you got to do what you got to do anyways. And, if you want to accomplish what you want to gain in life, you have to do those things. And I'm glad you're mentioning it, because, I think sometimes when I have to go out and project to people, it's like, oh, so much. And I'm like, I trained so much,
You gotta be confident, but that confidence comes from all the work that we put in, all the study that we put in to learn. For me, about Medicare and all the different services that you provide. I don't feel like you would be confident if you didn't know what you were talking about. It's hard to be confident and not know your stuff. I mean, that only lasts so long before, you're exposed.
Right.
And so just by being prepared, that gives you confidence to get in front of people and for me to talk about Medicare or Social Security. So you definitely got to prepare. Again, it's going to be uncomfortable, but, I'm trying to lose weight, and it's uncomfortable for me to work out. But in order to get to where I want to be weight-wise, I've got to go through that. So, and that's anything in life.
Yeah, you got to pay the price.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy to go to the gym or work out, definitely. But it's something that it's important.
Right.
If you want to stay healthy, then that's what you got to do. Especially us, we're not getting any younger.
Right.
We don't want to be, with the problems of the health. Then we got to work towards the nutrition and the working out, because it comes hand in hand. If you don't take care of the nutrition, then how is it you're going to take care of your health in the working out process?
Right. I'd rather be healthy, catch it on the front end versus on the back end, and laying up in a hospital bed or not having the energy to do things or play with my kids. And so I want to take care of my body while it's still healthy, and hopefully continue to be healthy. So
and how was it, because you did say I could talk about anything, so how was it getting into an American, I know you're married to, is it an American woman? How would you say white, right?
She's white, yes.
Okay. How was it like when you introduced her to your family and she introduced you to hers? How was that? Was it weird? Was it okay? You always confident of who you are, but how was it?
So that wasn't without challenges. My family, they were always receptive and open to her, but her family wasn't. And we dated 4 or 5 years before, I met a large part of her family, just because, they weren't cool with black and white. And so, it was challenging. It was tough. There was all these preconceived notions of how, how black people act, and, all those different things that had to be addressed. And they saw that I wasn't those things. But a lot of people think that just from music that they hear or how we're portrayed on TV. A lot of times they think that's how we are, and we're completely opposite. So it was very challenging in the beginning, but now they love me. Yeah,
they probably love you more than her.
Exactly, I'm their favorite.
I didn't say that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm their favorite, but again, it wasn't without challenges. But again, it came from ignorance, and just not knowing. So but it's good now.
How will you change that? Like, if you were to start again, like, will you just say, no, I'm going to meet them, or you'd still wait the 4 years you waited?
I mean,
it wasn't as bad as
it's all about timing, and you never, because there's no point in Jessica going through that in year 1 or year 2 if we weren't going to be long term. Right. And so I don't think I would have did it any faster. Right. Because why put her through that if we're just going to break up or go our separate ways? But, once it got to the point where, we knew we were going to be together long term, then it makes sense to do something like that. But and just to do it just because, that doesn't help anything.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous at this time of life. I know that was a challenge back in the day, but I do know that it's still a challenge now. But you're a great guy. She's a smart woman for choosing somebody like you, of course. You guys have a beautiful family.
Thank you.
And I know you guys waited so long to have children for the reason that you guys want to make sure. Right. And I'm sure you both knew. You just had to make sure.
I knew she was the one from day one, but I was broke, didn't have any money. So yeah. But no, I think that type of stuff is always going to be around, unfortunately. It's just hard to break. And it's on both sides. There's blacks that don't like whites, and whites, and it's all races.
Yeah. Stereotyping.
Yeah, it's all the stereotyping, and so it's always going to be around, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think within time it's gonna have to change. I've seen so much in life, like so many different kinds of people, and like tattoos all over the face, and you cannot even know if they have an eyebrow or not. It's like but they're doing that for a reason. Maybe sometimes they're artists. Sometimes you're just getting so used to seeing everything is changing. Everything is changing, and I mean this problematic from different races, it's come along since 1960. And it's ridiculous that, you used to have to go through this stereotyping when you go somewhere and you have to. But I think, people shouldn't feel overwhelmed that people look at whoever you are, because I think it's part of us being human. We have to see who's walking into the store, into the restaurant, if you feel you belong or not. It has to be a lot with mental preparation to just go out there in the world, because no matter what you look like or who you are, you're still gonna, hear something, but you just have to be prepared and be smart what to say, right?
Yep. I mean, we all face challenges. There's bullying. When you're kids in school, I mean, you're gonna get picked on, talked about,
right?
No matter what your race is. And so, I mean, we all have our challenges. They might look a little bit different, but just being human, we're all gonna face different challenges.
Right.
So it's just being able to get through that stuff and, like I said, be mentally tough and get the help. There's a lot of mental health stuff. And so just being able to get the help that you need. And there's tons of resources out there if people are willing to get the help and improve. That would help us out a lot. Just sometimes people just don't want to get that help. So.
Right. I think the reason why people don't get the help, I think a lot is, like you said, ignorance, because probably, people can think, oh, they're going to think I'm crazy, or they're going to think, I'm lonely, or, that I'm depressed, and, they want to hide that out. Right. But I think by hearing it over and over, that it's okay. Yep. to look at a YouTube channel and look up, how do I get rid of depression, or right. or just look at motivated videos. Yep. I think, that educational wise, I think that's more like pumped up when it comes to educating your mind.
No one has all the answers. And so, I mean, I've had a therapist. I've watched videos all the time on how to do this or that, or, I mean, no one has all the answers, but we have the ability, we have access to all that information on our phone, our computers, and so we just got to be willing to look and seek it out.
Okay, cool. So how was it being in school back in the day? Well, you're young, but when you went to middle school, high school, like you said, your parents been divorced when you were in high school, you said?
Freshman in high school.
So were you just like, oh, okay, a lot of kids in my school go through that, or how did you face it?
It wasn't a big deal. I didn't think at the time. Our parents still got along. It wasn't like a bitter, nasty divorce. They just grew apart. My mom moved a couple blocks away, and so I still got to see her anytime I wanted. She was always around. My dad was always around. So, I mean, there are divorces that are nasty and bitter, and that wasn't.
How would we tell those people that are going through divorce and, that their children are going to grow, and if you don't let the parents see the kid, I mean, how would you put it out there? I mean, I think it's ridiculous how it happens. I think people is mad at each other, but when it comes to the kids, I mean, you being the kid that you were,
right?
How would you thank your parents for getting along?
Well, I mean, that just hurts the kid when you kind of weaponize the kids and use the kids
as a weapon.
Not allowing the dad or not allowing the mom, or talking bad about the other spouse when it has nothing to do with the kids, and it forming all these different opinions. So I think in the long run, they hurt the kids more than anything. And, the kids are innocent in those situations, and, they need to be able to have access to their parents, as long as they're good people and, they're not abusing them and treating them wrong. But because I don't like the other parent, they will use that for you not to see your kids. And so, and I know that can be tough. I mean, it's easy for me to say that, but the kids are innocent in that situation, and they need to be able to see their parents. Again, as long as they're treating them good and not abusing them and doing all that stuff.
Not exposing them to danger.
Right.
Of course. Yeah. I'm glad you touched that topic, because that's been a big topic that I've been talked about before, just because I deal with paperwork and the people that comes out here and they need paperwork assistance. Well, I tell them, the guy has right the same as you. And sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. But, it is what it is. And they want to get that paperwork, flow through. But when it comes to the kids, it's like they're educating them, hey, this is how it's going to go. Because, you can't just use it, like you said, like a weapon. It's a big word.
Right.
To hurt the significant other. I mean, how can you forget, all this timing that you have these children and not know that it's going to affect them in the long run.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think I've seen it, too much in schools where, the kid don't have even a mom or dad or whatever. I mean, if they at least have a parent, be glad that that parent is willing to spend time with them,
Yep. Absolutely.
And right now with technology, like I've seen it, a lot of the times they put the kid to a tablet or a cell phone so they won't bother, kind of like the babysitter.
Right.
And that's autism right there over 3 years old. It's not good at all. And I know it's a lot of the things that, nobody wants to talk about, but, the kid needs, some kind of assistance on running and playing outside or
Right.
whatever. But I think that's a lot of the things that, like I said, is not said out there a lot. But I think it's time, to say it out there and say, don't use the kid as a weapon, and
Right.
and don't try to praise him for not having a parent,
Right.
With a tablet or a cell phone or whatever, But you know what I mean, though.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely think, both parents should be involved in the upbringing of their kids. And like I said, as long as they're not just abusing them, exposing them to, crazy stuff. I mean, I think they need to be a part of their lives and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm glad you had, your parents getting along and everything. You were one of the lucky ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the times you don't see it a lot. One of the parents moves away, just they don't have to deal with the other
Right.
parent.
Right.
But then they forget that the child's still there, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely cool beans. So from there, you finished high school?
Graduated high school, and from there went to college at Southwestern in Weatherford. Played football.
Cool.
Got a health science degree, and then went into sales. So I've been into sales all my life.
Yeah, that's good. I think once you go to a career, it doesn't matter what it is, you're able to switch it.
Mm-hmm.
Either you grew up. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs that grew up on the street and they still make it.
Right.
And a lot of people. I mean, I also finished sociology and a bachelor's degree in St. Gregory's University. And, I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to school for, but.
Me either. I was a C student also.
I would not think that of you. Oh my God. Yeah. I was a C student.
Myself. Yeah.
Yeah. C, like 70% and under.
Yeah.
Passing grade.
I passed.
Yeah.
I got the paper.
It doesn't matter if you made an A, you still I've seen it a lot where a lot of people that are very like professional wise, they do get into their career and they make it into a job.
Most entrepreneurs are C students.
Yeah.
Self-employed people are C students, and then you have the A and B students working for the C students.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was strong. Sorry, guys. It is what it is. If you guys don't want to be employed by anybody, just open your own business. Let us know if you need help. I can help you.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. Then. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you of what you become. Since we met in Primerica, you've always been one of the goofy guys, silly guys, but very, very humble guy. And like I said, I compare you to like the personality of Will Smith. Not that he got slapped, but the personality of a Will Smith guy, like Will Smith parent. He's a very good parent as well. Very knowledgeable, very educated. And I think that's what people needs out there to know what it is to be a real man and take care of your responsibilities, and take care of your, your career, your family. And it doesn't always work like that. But if it doesn't work like that, then you can work towards a way where you can, be there for your child or significant other or whatever,
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I mean, it's not to say I didn't have my challenges building my business. First 3 years were really tough, but I got through it, and it's really good now. So
That's good.
like I said, it's not easy.
Nothing's
Anything worth
easy.
it is not going to be easy.
Right.
There's a lot of hard work involved, and you got to be willing to stick through it through the thick and thin. But it's worth it. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so by starting it, like you said, it wasn't easy. The most challenging is making the decision, I think, right? For you, probably.
Well,
or what was it? Besides money.
The decision was pretty easy. The biggest challenge with any business or, most businesses is just the marketing of it. I could be the most educated Medicare agent out there, but if people don't know what I do or who I am, I'm not able to provide and support my family. And so the biggest thing that I had to figure out was the marketing piece of it, of how to consistently get me and my name in front of people on a consistent basis. Once I figured that out, the business got really easy, but it took me, a couple of years to get to that point where I figured out the marketing piece of it.
Right.
So you could be the best at whatever it is that you do. I mean, you could be the most resource person, but if people don't know about you and what all you provide,
Right. They're not going to know how to get there.
Right, and you're not going to have a successful business, a successful nonprofit. So
Right.
the biggest thing for any business is the marketing piece. People got to be willing to know about you so they can pay for your services or pay for your products or come to your restaurant. You might make the best food, but if people don't know about it,
Yeah.
that do you any good. So
Yeah, I think growing, like they say, that by word of mouth and, recommendations and, you have to put it out there, like you said, in the market. And you just got to be patient when
Right.
you start a business because, it takes a few years
It really
for it
does.
to work. It's not going to be, there's the business, go ahead and kind of like a doctor, there's your diploma, doctor, you earned it. I mean, if you don't earn it within time and studying, sacrificing, you can't have the doctorate degree.
right,
And the same with the business. You want to build a business, it will take years. It will take a lot of tears and sacrifice and people trying to stump on you instead of helping you. But I think it's part of the process. I think I started looking at it a few months ago. When people would quit on me, I would be like, they quit on themselves.
right.
We learned that. We learned that on that company. And I kind of get happy when somebody, doesn't want to be here anymore because I'm still here. And,
Same.
I encourage them,
Yep.
but we're still here. We're still, like yesterday I was saying a joke, like, it was a bad joke though. I don't know if I want to say it.
It's bad
But-
then now.
No, it's not that bad. It was just basically like, basically rules are rules. And if they don't like it, then I'm not going to be here to look at the face if they don't like the rules of my corporation, basically,
Right.
And they're not very strict rules. It's just be nice, be nice to others. If you can't be nice to others and help others, then, I have a secretary who can face that and I don't have to, So I think it really takes a decision making to, okay, you want to make money. Money is part of it. Money is not everything.
Right.
We know that. What have you learned about that when it comes to money and being a successful person?
I mean, money's not everything, but it's important in the areas that it's important.
Very.
You got to have money to buy food, pay bills, send your kids to different lessons, camps. I mean, so money is important. It's not the most important thing, but it's right up there because, if money wasn't important, you wouldn't have people working 40, 50, 60 hours at a job that they hated if money wasn't important. So
Right. Right.
you got to have it on this side of the earth to have a good living, to do the things you want to do. It's just how it's set up. And so,
Yeah.
money is important. Most important, I mean, obviously I would say is my health and all those different things, but
Yeah.
money's very important. So,
Yeah, it is. It is important. But if you stop worrying about it, if you stop worrying about money and learn what makes you happy, and you're able to make money with it, you're able to make a living with it.
Right.
I mean, happiness, like they said, a rich person can be happy even if they're rich, right?
I mean, it doesn't make you happy. And it
Right.
can help with some happiness. Like if I want to go on a trip it can help with my happy. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't solely by itself. Money doesn't make you happy.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. Yeah, that's important because it's like a lot of times people can think, oh, I don't have money, that's why I can't make a business.
Right.
That's what I meant. How would you say that?
Well, that's a false belief. I think most people that start businesses don't have enough money, but they figure it out. So that's just an excuse.
Yeah, that's one of the excuses. Or they'll say, oh, it's because my partner doesn't help me, that's why I can't make it.
Again, another excuse. There's millions of examples of having an unsupportive spouse or partner, and they succeeded in spite of that. So
Yeah.
that's why, like with the race thing, I mean, there's tons of Black people or Hispanics that have succeeded in spite of, the racism that exists. And so
Right.
I'm not, and again, I'm never going to be the one to say it doesn't exist, but you still can be successful in spite of that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's a big one because like we've said it out there and you've said it, it's an excuse to have why I can't make it, because there can be a lot of excuses, and if you just decide, it doesn't matter if this happens, it doesn't matter if this happens. If you put it to your mind and your soul to it, you're going to do what you need to do.
Correct.
Yeah. So how, when you started, when you, like you said, you didn't have any money to start it, how was your partner supporting you? I mean, she wasn't the excuse why you didn't do it, and she had to understand that she had to support you because you were going to do it anyways, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that can be tough because she's very security, like she wants the security of money and having
All females.
a set paycheck. And so that can be a challenge because in the beginning, the money wasn't there or it wasn't consistent. Mm-hmm. But, I stuck with it, and then the money became consistent, then it became, really good. And so, again, it's not to say that we didn't have our challenges, because we definitely had our challenges, and, just her being nervous, but I mean, always supportive. She always believed in me.
Yeah.
But, we still had bills to pay, and,
yeah,
things get tough if
kept
there's
coming.
not enough money. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome that you made the decision and that you made it out there. And like I said, I think you have a lot of responsibility with the community. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't know, now you know.
Now I know.
Now you know. So it's great to be able to have this podcast with you. I think our timing has come to close to an end. But yeah, I mean, anything you want to say out there to the young entrepreneurs who are fighting it, besides not having excuses, not having a challenge, like something to stop you, but to motivate you, right?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on your podcast. It's been fun. It's been a good conversation. And then to anyone out there, look, or be encouraged. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an overnight success, but the answers are out there. Start researching YouTube, books, mentors. Find someone that's doing what you want to do. Go talk to them. But if you want to be successful, you can be successful, but it's going to take some work. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, definitely, Jenny. Yeah, I think being able to talk to people out there, we have the tools to do it. And I think if we can eventually, try to probably have different podcasts on what you do, maybe I can translate, and have you just talk about, what you do and how you can help. Because people know what I do, definitely. And with this podcast that's in English, it is going to go to more American people as
Right.
well, the English speaking, and what we do is any kind of paperwork. We're kind of like a guide, a map to the court system. We are a nonprofit, and we're just happy to be able to help you with your paperwork. If you can't fill out paperwork, let us help you. Because a lot of times, it can be the elderly don't have the help from their children or whatever.
Right.
And that's what we do. And like I said, we'll continue staying in touch. And thank you guys for the attention. And great to have Jenny here. And, if any questions, his number will be on the podcast.
Sounds good. Thank you.